went back to the question of saying that how much time would it take for India to get to a developed state? One way of looking at it is to, would it happen if we give our time? Would it happen if we give our money? And there was this third option where we give ourselves up. And we felt perhaps the third option is a more realistic option. And if you were to get more people to do that, India might get onto that path. And therefore the name.
And we also wanted the name to be able to drive home a very strong message. And because Rangway is not about just me or Nam or our team, it's about how can it become a movement for the country. And it really needed to have that strong call for action. And only then, and initially it really worked. A lot of people spoke to us because of the name and the logo. Because we were nobodies, nobody knew who we were. We didn't have a background in microfinance. And if anybody was talking to us, it was because of the name. It was like, oh wow, what is Rangway about? So.
Yeah, also if you remember, the movie was quite popular back then.
Yes, right.
So they used to come to us and ask, where is Basanti? Used to say that well.
Okay, I think the other thing that comes to mind is, you've chosen to follow your passion with respect to social change and to make a difference. Tough path, a very tough domain, a very tough business, if I were to call it so. Some of the challenges that you faced.
Actually, there are quite a few. So, not sure, like if you look at 2010, the crisis which happened in Andhra Pradesh. So there were, the overnight microfinance had become illegal in Andhra Pradesh. It was a very trying, testing time for all of us. Nobody wanted to talk to us. They said, no, you are also doing microfinance. And at that time, there was this, there was a forum in ISB, and Nagesh Kukunar was one of the speakers there. So I ended up, meeting him and said, no, I am actually from this organization, and by the way, we do microcredit. And he gave me a, very, he said, how dare you talk to me about microcredit? In microfinance, वालों ने हैदराबाद का नाम खराब कर दिया. So I think it was that bad, right? So, and then he later on became a brand ambassador for Rangway. So that was a huge challenge because, but at the same time, it also, it vindicated our stand. Because people who knew us from the early days, they said, no, you've always been saying this.
Right.
That it's all about doing it right as opposed to doing it at scale. So I think that was a very interesting, it was a very challenging period for us because to survive that, there was a lot of negativity, there was a very negative environment, but we sort of, we decided to slow down on the operations, really curtail our growth plans, and then we survived that. So that was a huge sort of testing period for us.
And also, I think being first-time entrepreneurs, right, you make your own set of mistakes. So a lot of things we had to learn by trial and error.
That was my next question, actually.
Yeah.
Mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we were very high on passion. We were driven by the social mission and that, we wanted to make a difference. But there also had to be a business angle to it. It means establishing an organization, running it effectively, taking the right decisions. And I think we made loads of mistakes. Now when you look back, we would think, oh, we would never have done all of this. We would have done things very differently. But yeah, that's part of the learning curve, right? So the fact that we didn't give up at any of those stages and, we continued. And also I think a lot of things happened when you're not given up and when you're really persistent, things have really happened for us. So I think we've seen that right through our journey.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick up from there and some more insights into some mistakes that you've made and which have kind of helped you learn and change and get to where you are.
Yeah, I think we did quite a few, typical mistakes what first-time entrepreneurs do. And be it in terms of building a team, ability to take those calls, ability to sort of, and also we realized it quite late that, Rangway is also actually a technology company first, a product company.
Right.
social, model. So it took us a while to do that transition. So if you if you were to rebuild Rangde again, we would probably do it a lot more faster, a lot more efficient. Yeah, so immense lessons. And also, I think we also invested in learning, because I think we felt that we were new to the sector. So I think that was something which also took some time. So as entrepreneurs, again, we hit the ground running. So we did not research. People still ask, where is the original business plan of Rangde? So we never had one. As Smita said, we were very high on passion, but very low on budget, but we hit the ground running. And the thing which really worked in our favor was we were willing to fail. We were prepared to fail. In fact, I think which is not very common. Let me share this. So I applied for HSMP visa. It's a highly skilled migrant program visa. Paid £2,000.
Right.
When I was leaving UK. And the reason for that was that we said if at all we were to fail, then we could come back and pick up
from where you left off.
where we left off. But that's what it is. So we were prepared to fail, but then we said, but we're going to give our 100% to make it work.
Yeah, at least I have never gone back to UK after I came back.
So, actually we saw the teaser video at the beginning. It would help if you can just talk about what is Rangde, what do you do, what scale have you achieved, what are the things that have, what is, just some pitch about Rangde, because...
Yeah. So essentially, Rangde is an internet platform which connects low-income entrepreneurs to affordable credit. And this credit we raise from individuals like you and me. And any one of us can go online and choose to lend to a low-income entrepreneur who is listed on the platform. How do we select these entrepreneurs? We work with a network of partners, and these partners are legendary in many ways, because they've been doing some amazing work, working very closely with communities, essentially non-profits or cooperatives, or it could be even producer groups, producer collectors. And we partner with them, so we have a process in place, we get them on board, and then they follow the mandate of Rangde, which is to identify first-time borrowers. And these first-time borrowers get listed on our website. And the way we define first-time borrowers at Rangde is in two ways. One, somebody who has either been denied credit or somebody who's not been offered credit. So if they meet this criteria, they're eligible to get listed on our website. And once they get listed, we raise capital, and we have stringent timelines. Based on that, we raise capital and we transfer the money to them. Just to give a small example of a partnership which we're very proud of, we have a partner in Mysore called Swami Vivekananda Youth Movement. Started with a bunch of doctors inspired by Swami Vivekananda, went on to set up hospitals, tribal hospital, educational institutions. When we met them many years ago, they said, we'd love to work with you, but give us some time. What they did in the intervening time was form self-help groups of street vendors in Mysore, outside the city government hospital. The banks reluctantly opened their bank accounts, and then they motivated them to save every month. So the street vendors came every month, they should give 50 rupees and then save that money. And then after about a year, they connected them with Rangde. Up until then, their daily routine was borrow money in the morning and repay in the evening at 10% per day. So from 10% per day, they went all the way to 10% per annum. And they didn't realize initially, they said, okay, ye bhi 10%, wo bhi 10%. But then eventually, when it started dawning on them, they realized they were actually doubling their incomes. And that is when, when we went, on a field trip, they received us so warmly. They used to, get us whatever they used to sell, fruits or, and give us. And I think that was a huge, one of the,
Yeah, in fact, one of our women entrepreneurs went on to win the Anita Sen Memorial Award in